Today we're talking about a book that begins with a phone call in May 2017 to a young woman who's told by the police that her mother's grave has been desecrated. Her mother died 35 years before, when the woman was 4. 3 weeks later, she falls pregnant with her first child. The mother in the story is the Austrian-born actress Romy Schneider, who died in Paris in 1982, aged 43. The daughter and author of this book is the actress Sarah Biasini, and she joins me now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. Now, this is a beautiful book about love and loss and learning about the meaning of maternal love and what it means to be a mother. It's written as a letter to your own daughter, Anna, who's nearly 3. Why did you want to write it?
I wanted to write a story, whatever story, for a long time. And when this happened, and when I fell pregnant, I thought, and the two events really close together, I thought it would be a great start for a book. And then, well, I suppose as every parent, I wanted to talk to my child as soon as possible. So at the end of my pregnancy, I started writing, and I just asked myself how I was going to tell her the story of her family, and so I started writing, and I gave birth, and then I discovered what kind of maternal love I had towards my daughter, and I realized it was also a very anxious love, because I had known those brutal deaths before, and I was drawn by those questions, like what kind of mother I wanted to be, therefore what kind of child I had been, what kind of parents I had, and
do you think you found the answers through writing it?
Some of them, but not all of them. But it was just, you know, the beginning of a dialogue with my daughter.
And you cite the name of your mother, Romy Schneider, only once in the book.
Yeah.
Before now, you were very private about her, but because you've written this book, you have been spending like the past weeks talking about your mum. What's that been like?
It's okay. It's really okay. And I don't know. I wrote the book really thinking I was really, it was okay for me to talk about my family, but because I considered them as characters already right at the beginning of the writing, and I love family stories, and I thought my family was one of a kind, so I thought, well, why shouldn't I write about it?
Can you tell us about this beautiful picture on the front?
It's me and my mom, and I think it really pictures really well this particular maternal love that I was talking about, meaning a very passionate maternal love. You know, like the movement of a mother towards her child, and the child towards her mother, and I don't know, it's pure.
And your mum made something like 60 films. How are your memories affected by seeing her on screen, and how much did you discover about her through her art? Well, since she was a very good actress and very sincere and deep, of course, you grasp, you know, elements of her character throughout films, but it was also through, you know, tales of my family, of, you know, people who really spend time with her. And you talk, at the end of the book, you actually you talk about meeting some of the greats of French cinema who worked with her, like Michel Piccoli, Claude Sautet, and Alain Delon. Can you tell us what you learnt from them?
Not that much, because the meetings were so emotional on both parts that I didn't come with the, you know, pre-established questions, and we were all of us so sensitive and emotional about her, And so it was just, I think it was just the pleasure of being together and talk about her a little bit, you know.
And there was this...
Sometimes we were speechless. That's what I want.
Just like feeling it together.
Yeah.
There was a documentary a couple of years ago about your mum called 3 Days in Quiberon. It was filmed just after the death of her son, your brother, who was a teenager. It really angered you at the time because it portrayed an image of your mum as a tragic character. It seems like this book is another way of showing that that isn't what she was like, that she also was someone who was very happy, who experienced joy. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, this movie was shot 3 years ago, but it took place before the death of my brother. Yeah, I just think that a person is more complex. You cannot be just made of tears or made of laughter. A whole life is more complex, and. By the time I had seen the movie, I couldn't keep my mouth shut, and I just thought it wasn't a very good movie, and that you had to pay attention because it wasn't the whole truth. It was part fictional, and that's the whole question: where does the fiction start? And and so I just wanted to warn people who wanted to see it that it wasn't the complete truth.
You say in the book that you kiss your daughter Anna a lot, so she'll always remember your kisses. You also talk about how your family share openly your love, your feelings for each other, so there are never any regrets. Is this a sort of anxiety that comes from losing people very young, or is it just the knowledge that people can suddenly die, so we must appreciate the present moment?
Both. I think it's the same movement. It's both feelings. You just learn what is important. And what is important is to tell things and show love when you feel some. And what does a child need, really, to grow up? Tender arms and kisses and a good ear to listen to him.
You're also an actress. In September, you were in the play Miss Julie in Orléans, in France, with Philippe Noiret's granddaughter, Deborah Grawl. Now, you play Julie. Deborah plays Christine the cook. Just take a listen to this.
We were also happy to be on stage together, and the theatre was happy to open its doors again and to be able to put on a show for the public. And despite the reduction in capacity, a lot of people attended. It was very powerful to be reunited again on stage. It was somewhat symbolic. This character is magnificent. I feel like Sarah does a good job embodying her in a strong and beautiful way. I can't wait to reprise my role alongside her. This gap between performances only helps to develop further our characters, so I'm sure her performance will be even more beautiful and greater.
So that was Deborah Grawl speaking about working with you. She is, of course, Philippe Noiret's granddaughter who worked with your mother. Now, in the book, you talk about how everyone is always talking to you about your mum's beauty, your mum's films, your resemblance to your mum, even when you're giving birth. A nurse sort of brings it up. What's it like when people talk about your talent?
It's okay, but sometimes I just probably before maybe the book is going to do his own work about it, but I sometimes I didn't know what to do with what people would tell me about her, or their own missing of her, but you learn through the years how to share with the public, and it's just fine, because also, I mean, people who come to see you, they're always, they're nice and most of the time very respectful, but sometimes it's just, what do you do with what they tell you? And
Deborah Grawl's grandfather directed your mum in The Old Gun in 1975. Which film do you think most represents Romy Schneider as a woman?
All of them, probably in different times. I don't know. I mean, the one I really like is César et Rosalie with Yves Montand, It's because she's probably the one I saw the most, and
it's also your daughter's middle name, isn't it, Rosalie?
Yeah, well, although I didn't write it exactly as you know, as in the movie, but still, yeah, it was a little. Yeah, I mean, she was really a real authentic actress, so probably, you know, in each part she would, you know, put a little bit of herself.
Okay, well, we always finish our show with our guests' cultural pick of the moment. What have you chosen for us and why?
I think it's this series on Netflix about dance, and it's called Move. It's a documentary. It's 6 or 8 episodes on the most known choreographers. It's fantastic. It's really, I learned a lot, and you know, dancing is just one of the greatest things to do.
You talk about it in your book as well, don't you?
It's true, true.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to leave you with Move. Sarah Bayazini, your book is called La Beauté du Ciel. Thanks for joining us. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Stop.
My mother tongue is movement.
The feminist in me was able to express myself as a powerful female and not feeling downgraded from a male perspective.
I never forget that word. She said, I'm going to be a star. I'm going to make you proud of me.
I'm so proud.
France 24. Every art form.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.
If you want to really understand what's going on in the world, you need to follow the money.
In People in Profit, we tackle the biggest stories in the global economy and break down why they matter to you.
From mega mergers to market crashes and those new business ideas that just could change the world.
In this economy, it's the show you can't afford to miss.
Join us every week for your essential business briefing.
People and Profit on France 24 and France24.com.